Hi, this is Lindsay, one of the co-hosts of Beauties and Headcanons. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Ryan Pierce, host of Completely Serious here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Completely Serious, where we talk about sports and have fun with great guests. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you'll never miss an episode of Completely Serious. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
What's up? Welcome to Your Life Matters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mariah White, and man, I am so excited to be coming to you guys today on this Tuesday just to deliver a message to you. So I am a passionate pediatric nurse practitioner and fired up health and happiness coach. And let me just say, I am sitting here just being real and raw with you guys. You guys probably had seen my trip when I was in Hawaii, but I'm currently here as you guys are listening to this recording. So I am just blown away. The island of Hawaii is incredible. The vastness, the beauty, it is just stunning. So I just have to start there. Like the view that I'm looking at, guys, if you guys were here with me, it would just be such a spectacular moment, especially with what the message that I'm going to be delivering to you today. So I just wanted to take a second and just say hello to all of my new listeners. Welcome to Your Life Matters podcast. And this podcast seriously is for you. It was designed by you for you to help deliver a message and a hope that you can believe this unwavering truth that you were made for so much more and that you truly can go after your wildest dreams in both your health and your happiness. And that's why we're here today. For those of you tuning in again, welcome back. Soul Sister, seriously, I love you. I'm so glad you tune in every single week for this message, this motivation, this delivery of a way for you to just get on the other side, to get unstuck and get into the arena of your life and just be you. So guys, as I'm sitting here again in the beautiful island of Kauai, just one thing just kept coming into my mind. And it truly stems from this belief that we're not enough. And I talk about that every single week. It's a self-limiting belief that tells us we're not enough, or when we allow fear to just really come in and just crumple over us and like literally become like this mountain that's constantly on top of us that we can't overcome. And the reason why I say this is, guys, I was that girl, literally that woman, that young lady, but seriously, like I feel like a little girl every time I think about it. I'm that person that seriously would fear, like be so afraid to sit and have lunch by myself. I would never, ever, ever get something from a restaurant and sit down and eat it because of fear of what other people were thinking of me. Or I would be fearful to just be by myself and like have no company or no talking. And then it's funny because it's so hilarious. One of my best friends, her husband will like literally just go out and go to the movies. And I'm like, what do you mean people do that? Like people go to the movies by themselves. Like what? I feel like people would just be like, what are you doing? But it's so funny how we get wrapped up in this, like this silo of like what everybody else thinks and what everybody else is doing and how they're going to think of you and all of this stuff, where it came down to it. Unfortunately, like my boyfriend wasn't able to come with me on the trip. And then like afterwards, I was like trying to figure out like, hey, you know what, you want to come? Do you want to come? All this stuff, because technically it was a paid for conference by what I do as a nurse practitioner. We every single year get to go to a conference to be able to get CME credits so that we stay up to date and current. And I genuinely have always wanted, even while I was in school, wanted to go to this Aloha Update Pediatric Conference. And I sat there and I was like, you know what? It's paid for. Like, just figure it out. Like, just come with me kind of thing. And, you know, as time got closer and people are like, oh, I can't come. You know what? I was like, maybe I just shouldn't go. Maybe I don't want to go. I don't want to go by myself. I don't travel by myself ever. I've never traveled by myself. Like, yes, I've gotten on a plane by myself and like got to a hotel and then all my friends are there, or gone on trips with, significant others or whatever the situation is. But I've never gone on a trip by myself, stayed by myself. So this trip was huge for me because I literally was like, man, I'm stepping outside of fear so big right now, because I felt like that little girl who was like, well, what are people going to think? And what are people going to say? And why would she go to Hawaii by herself? And it's like, because it's an incredible island, first of all. And second of all, who cares? And it was crazy that this all came to me because the day before I left, Rachel Hollis, an amazing, amazing woman. If you guys haven't read her first book called Girl Wash Your Face, I really implore you to go do that. It was such an incredible game changer in my life. She is a best-selling author, an incredible speaker, and she sent me her advanced copy of Girl Stop Apologizing. And let me tell you, the most perfect book that could have ever gotten delivered on my front door was this book at the time that this trip was happening. And as I was reading the first couple of pages, I was going through and it was like, girl, stop apologizing. And she quoted like her thoughts on that Demi Lovato song, Sorry Not Sorry. And I thought to myself as I was continuing to go through it, it's like, who cares what other people think? Stop apologizing for just being you and for going after your dreams. So today, I really want us to focus on one huge topic, and it's getting rid of the self-limiting beliefs, getting rid of the fear that you're not enough, getting rid of the fear that people are thinking bad about you or what they're thinking, and stop apologizing for who you are. Like, genuinely forget everybody else and everything else and just be you. And some people just don't have the permission to do so. Whether you grew up in a household where you were always seeking attention and love and wanting to make somebody proud, you became a people pleaser. You became dug into accomplishments. That's who you became, and that's who you went after to be because you had that lacking in your childhood. And those of you who dealt with like really being affectionate and your return on affection is so great that when you don't receive that, you demote your value, demote your self-worth, and you're saying like, man, I'm not enough because this person won't give me what I need. And we put all of our efforts, all of our love, all of our self-worth into other people. And I'm giving you permission to take it back. I'm giving you permission to do the hard thing and take back the control that you've given to everybody else. Literally, I think back like whether you are a mom, whether you are a daughter, a sister, a brother, a husband, a wife, like you have given so many people the ability to have the utmost control over your life. It's not like you're able to go after your dreams and somebody's going to be like, oh my God, she went after her dreams. She's such a good mom. Or she went after her dreams. She's such a good daughter. Or she went after her dreams and she's such a good sister. It's if my kids are happy and they're doing what they need to do and they're well behaved, then she's such a good mom. Or if I'm being a good sister, I'm showing up, I'm being a good, maid of honor, whatever the situation is, I'm a good sister. Oh, if I'm being a devoted daughter, I'm, taking care of them when I'm sick and yada, 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 then I'm being a good daughter. You get that validation only after you feel like you've given a piece of yourself to someone else. It's not like this unanimous societal norm where we say, oh my God, she's such a badass woman. She's gone after her dreams. She's made stuff possible. She continues to seek, self-motivation, personal development, growing herself. She's such a good wife. She's such a good daughter. She's such a good sister. Those aren't the things coming out of her mouth. So then we aren't likely to attach our dreams, our wants, and the permission to be our complete self with validation of being a good wife, being a good sister, or being a good daughter. And I'm giving you permission to take the reins back. I'm giving you permission to take back control of your life because I promise you, if you stop apologizing for who you are, stop apologizing for going after your dreams, stop apologizing for understanding that you need 30 minutes a day for your health and your happiness, that you need your 10 minutes of quiet time to pray and dive into your devotional, or that you need to be able to read a personal development book instead of picking up a novel. You need to stop apologizing for those things, because those are things that are making you a better person. Because when you become a better person, I promise the other things will become better too. Because I've sat there and for almost 3 years now, dove into who I am, I'm able to tolerate situations a whole lot better. I'm able to deal with situations as, okay, this is the situation and this is the solution, versus getting back into my old habits of depression, suicide, thoughts that I'm not enough. And don't get me wrong, I have those days where, and those tendencies where I have moments where I think that, but I don't stay there. I don't stay stuck because of all the work that I've done to grow myself. And because I hear comments like, wow, you're such a good sibling, or you're such a good sister, or you're such a good nurse practitioner, or you're such a good friend, or you're such a good daughter, or you're such a good girlfriend. Things like that I hear that I know to be true only because I took the time to work on me. So what are you willing to give yourself permission to do? Are you willing to give yourself permission to jump into an exercise routine? Are you willing to give yourself permission to give up on fear and take a trip that you've always wanted, regardless of if you go by yourself? Are you willing to give up the self-limiting belief and give yourself permission to just truly go after your dreams, the one that wakes you up in the middle of the night that you want to go after, whether it's a small business, whether it's a multi-millionaire business, whether it's an idea that you have to change the world, whether it's the algorithm to cure cancer? When are you going to give yourself permission to go after those things? And the reason why I say that I'm giving you permission to take back the reins and to let go and to stop apologizing is because once you do that, I promise you're going to change the world. And everybody thinks, Mariah, like, really change the world? I'm one person. No, I'm being serious. It took one person. And one person that I think about right off the top of my head, Martin Luther King Jr. It took one person to affect change. It took one person, Rosa Parks, saying, heck no, I'm not sitting on the back of the bus. I am tired. I'm not moving. She was one person. I think about Abraham Lincoln. He was one president that decided to make a huge difference. One person can affect so much change. For God's sake, like, if you think about it, if it wasn't for, literally, if you think about it, if it wasn't for Steve Jobs, you wouldn't have the incredible phone that you have right now that you're listening to my podcast through, most of you anyway, with an Apple iPhone. Literally, one person decided to affect change. Just a simple way of how we communicate with people. The person who created the very first cell phone, I can't quote who it was. I have no idea. So somebody feel free to Google it and send it to me, DM me personally on Instagram. But literally, guys, like, think about it. One person. So as one person, I can affect change in lives of so many people through this podcast, through my job as a nurse practitioner, through my job as a health and happiness coach, because I chose not to commit suicide, and I share that boldly. I stopped apologizing for being a provider that attempted suicide. And that was one of those hard things that I had to deal with. I stopped being that provider who apologized for struggling with depression. I stopped being that woman who apologized for being in an abusive relationship. I stopped being that woman who was apologizing for wanting to be loved. I stopped being that woman who was apologizing to everyone else while I sat back on the sidelines, lived paycheck to paycheck, and wished every single day that I wasn't living the life I was living. And then I woke up. I stopped apologizing right then and there, and I gave myself permission to want more. I gave myself permission to believe that I was made for more. And I gave myself permission to go after it. I dove into exercise. I dove into personal development. I dove into being coached. I dove into changing my life, which then replicated in financial freedom, being surrounded by a community of incredible powerhouse boss babes that ended up changing my life and gave me the way to pay off over $40,000 in student loan debt, and the ability to change the complete trajectory of my life and set the stage for this podcast and set the stage for so many other things in this life that I'm doing. And it all started when I decided to stop apologizing for just being who I am. So guys, listen to my heart right now. I need you to think about, what are you willing to give yourself permission to do? What are you willing to stop apologizing for? Is it going to be stop apologizing to be healthier and happier? Is it going to be stop apologizing to be the best mom you can be by jumping into personal development and learning how to be the best mom? Is it stop apologizing and learn how to give the best self that you can as a wife, as a sister, as a daughter? Are you going to stop apologizing for your dreams? And are you going to show other people that your dreams were worth going after? Because guess what? They're yours. You could have the cure for cancer. You could be the next Martin Luther King. You could be the next Rosa Parks. You could be the next Abraham Lincoln. And we would never know about it because you continue to apologize for who you are. I right now give you absolute permission to stop apologizing. And I give you permission to release whatever it is in this life that is holding you back. So that's your homework. I want you to look in all the areas of your life, whether you're a mom, a sister, a daughter, a friend, a girlfriend, a wife, a husband, a son, a business partner, an employee, an employer. I want you to look at the aspects where you need to stop apologizing. I need you to write them down and put them into categories, whether it's family life, work, professional life, and personal growth, and happiness and health. Whatever it is, however you want to categorize it, I need you to think of the things that you need to stop apologizing for and write it down. And then every single day, look at it and remind yourself, I give myself permission to stop apologizing for this. I give myself permission to stop apologizing for that so that I can go out and live my best life. I give you permission today to stop apologizing and to be the badass that I know you were created to be, because God placed you here for a reason. And if you have the ability to change a life, then I want you to get this concept in your head that you could actually change my life. You could change somebody's life that needs it more than you know. So stop apologizing for being you, because you are the only you there is and the only you there will ever be. And that makes you absolutely remarkable.